How true are the rumors of ghosts in Wilson Hall? What happened at the Ridges, formerly known as the Athens Lunatic Asylum? And who is scratching on the closet doors of the OAP frat house? Today we test the believability of the haunted University of Ohio.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
Where we dive into the unknown and the unusual,
and tell you whether or not we find it believable.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of not my alumni.
Not mine. We're both Akron.
Yeah.
Go Zips.
My cousin did go here, actually.
Really?
Yeah, my cousin Katie.
Is there ever like ghost vomit from like drinking the night before, like ghost binging, and then like projectile ghost vomit?
Ectoplasm, right?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about the University of Ohio, also known as OU, which I found out today.
I feel like a lot of people, if we never said Ohio and we just said OU, isn't that? Oh no, that's OSU, Oklahoma's. What's just Oklahoma?
I think Oklahoma University, right?
The OU, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know. Sketch.
Thanks for Baker. Where is OU? Is that like near Columbus or?
It's in Athens, Ohio, which is it's in Appalachia, the mountains.
So like West Virginia?
It's near West Virginia.
So it's southeast?
Yes, that's right. It's
Okay.
Southeast in Ohio.
Like Marietta.
This is our second Ohio story, right?
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
We're basically a local podcast now.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, that's how it starts. So are you ready to get into this?
Let's do it.
All right.
Your birthday's gone now. Nobody cares. Like I think we're ready to I think we're ready just to dive right in. We can start talking about my birthday now. It's like 3 months away.
I haven't talked about my birthday in like 2 weeks. You've brought it up every time.
I just want you to have a great birthday.
It's done. It's over. I'm done. I'm dead at 30.
Hope everybody's getting ready for Christmas. Get that jingle in your step.
Oh, man. I'm not even thinking about Christmas. So to start this off, there are 5 cemeteries in Athens, Ohio.
Why?
I don't know.
It's a booming business over there. Just a lot of people dropping dead.
But the thing about the cemeteries is that they kind of surround the city. And this feels, honestly, for me, it feels a little arbitrary. But if you connect them in that of a star, OU is in the center of it.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say if you connect them in a star shape, it makes a star.
I was going to say a pentagram, but...
Yeah. So OU's right in the middle of these cemeteries.
Yeah, it's not a perfect star, because I've seen the map. It's not perfect.
It's a little like a scalene. I know that's more triangles.
Yeah, it's like a star that like fell over a little bit to the side.
It's been drinking too much at OU.
It definitely went to college. But is it relevant? Perhaps. Perhaps it is.
Believable.
I don't know. Let's not jump the gun yet. So this campus was founded in the early 1800s, 1804 exactly, and it sits in the valley of the Appalachian Mountains. And some say that the ups and downs from the mountains and the valleys are good for spirits. And I think it's the running water from the mountains that have something to do with the paranormal activity there.
Well, water holds memory, right? Isn't that what they say?
Are you watching Frozen 2?
No, I no. So what do the hills have to do with ghosts? Like, why does that?
So I was watching my research led me to some student-led videos, and he goes, the mountains are good for spirit activity. I was like, I don't remember reading that, but personally, I think the water movement has something to do with that.
See, it's like the scene is so pretty that the ghosts are like, I don't really want to move on to the afterlife. The aesthetics here are just extraordinary.
It is very nice. It's a nice-looking campus.
Maybe that's why. They just think it's too pretty to go. They're like, heaven can't be better than Ohio University.
It's by almost heaven, West Virginia.
Yeah, see, look, I think we've solved it.
There is a river that cuts through campus, though.
Through campus?
It's like right next to campus.
That sounds like a beautiful campus.
It's very nice. We probably should have gone there.
Yeah.
Go Bobcats. So the thing about OU
Yes.
is that most of the dorms, some fraternity houses like Alpha Omicron Phi, and not to mention the abandoned mental hospital on school property, seems to be infected with some kind of paranormal activity. And we're going to go through some of the bigger stories.
Cool.
These are not all the stories.
Just the big ones.
Just the big ones. We're going to start our story with the Ridges. Like I said in the intro, also known as the Athens Lunatic Asylum. So the asylum officially began operations in January 9th, 1874, and within 2 years, it was renamed the Athens Hospital for the Insane.
So that was after OU.
Yes.
So they built the college first, and then they built the asylum right next to it?
Yes.
I wonder if that was like to threaten students, like if you show up late to class.
Going right to the insane asylum. And it had changed the names several times throughout its years. Another couple names are the Athens State Hospital and the Southeastern Ohio Mental Health Center. And there, like I said, there's a couple other names. I know, that one's like a big one.
They just couldn't get the logo right. The design, it's all graphic design work.
It's like SEOMHC. That's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big acronym.
Yeah.
Nobody's remembering that.
No, that's why they changed it like 3 more times. This hospital, the Ridges, was particularly known for its practice of lobotomy.
Oh, dude, I hate lobotomy. I remember the first time, I think I was like 13 when I watched a scary movie that involved lobotomy, and I went like a year not realizing that it was real. I thought it was like something spooky made in this film. And then in like a class, I don't even know what class it would. I was been 14, so I guess freshman year. Like I learned that was something they actually did. It's like people act out. Oh, we can fix that.
Yeah, they go in and they break your... We're not going to get into lobotomy right now, but that's something they did there.
Well, some people might not know what it is, though.
Well, okay, I can explain it really quick.
Yeah, like a nutshell.
They take a hammer and a tool like an ice pick, and they break it through your optic plate in your bone.
Above your eye, basically.
Above your eye, through your eye, and they scramble your frontal lobe.
Yep, it's pretty much a lot of guys had it done on a lot of women because they were probably not good people, and the women weren't happy, and they wanted a woman who would just chill and do housework stuff.
They just chilled after that.
It's done, I don't want to say really well. One of the most recent things I watched in my life where I saw it done was actually BoJack Horseman, where it was very alarming when they show his parents or his grandparents, something like that. It's creepy. It's when you think about like a bad science, it's like, to get where we are now, some of the steps along the way are harsh realities and not good.
When I think about lobotomy, I think about Sucker Punch, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unrealistic, pretty version of it, but the hospital made news when a patient named Margaret Schilling disappeared on December 1st, 1978, and it wasn't until January 12th, 1979, 42 days later, that her body was discovered by a maintenance worker in a locked, long-abandoned ward. Though tests showed that she died of heart failure, she was found completely naked, with her clothes neatly folded next to her body, and more interestingly, permanent stain of her body was left behind. Clearly, an imprint of her hair and body can still be seen on the floor, even though numerous attempts to clean it have been made, and after this, the hospital closed.
So, what part of a body, like what in our body leaves that residue? It's not just being there a long time. It's not like dust settled around her.
I don't think I shared this on the podcast before, but I worked for one day in body removal.
Ugh.
And from what I understand from that job,
they are very much underpaid. I think.
Yes. But also, what I learned, I think it's the oil from the fat that the body secretes. I think that's kind of something that leaves that stain.
So, like, our friend Tyler would leave no trace if it was from fat.
Well, he's like 100% muscle, so yeah.
It would just be, I don't know if he was ever here. Okay, so, did she lock it herself, or was it locked from the outside?
It didn't say how it was locked.
Gotcha. Well, I would assume she locked it, but it would be interesting not interesting. It would be a development in the case if somebody locked her in there.
I don't know if she locked the door, but they assumed that ward was locked off and she couldn't get in there.
Okay, so it's kind of also a mystery of how she ended up there.
Yeah. However, that being said, Margaret's spirit is said to have appeared staring down from the window of the room where her body was found. She has been seen trying to escape, and she has also been known to wander various parts of the building at night.
Is she wearing her clothes in ghost form?
They never said. I'm assuming yes.
For decency, I would hope so. Jeez.
And
there's children.
It's kids. And according to some, she is not alone. Other former patients also said to remain in the residence, with reports from visitors seeing strange figures standing in the empty wings of the former hospital, hearing disembodied voices and squeaking gurneys. seeing strange lights and hearing screams echoing through the walls. More frightening, there are rumors of spirits of patients who remain shackled in the basement. And many of these spirits are thought to be those who died or suffered at the hands of the asylum.
I mean, that makes perfect sense if you think about like negative energy, abuse. So what, is it anything today? Is it closed?
They still do tours and stuff. There's still students that do tours inside the asylum.
Does it exist just for like the paranormal entity, like the fact that it's paranormal?
You know, I couldn't find why it's still there.
Like, I wonder if it's just because they make money from like doing tours and stuff.
I think maybe a recent student that went to the OU claimed he and a group of friends have seen the very figure of Margaret staring at them out the window she was discovered.
They like held a picture up like, yep, that's her.
There's another story. This girl comes back later. In 1981, a woman who touched the stain claimed that Margaret's spirit followed her to her dorm room.
Ooh.
While she was sleeping, she woke up to seeing the face of Margaret right next to her, and I guess she freaked out. She imploded. The whole dorm found out about this. No one actually heard from her a couple days later, and they found she ended up killing herself in her dorm room.
You mean nobody heard from her for a couple days?
Yeah, after this incident, no one heard from her. It was just like quiet all of a sudden, and then a couple days later, they found her dead.
By hanging? Is that what you said, or did I make that up?
She just killed herself. Yeah, I didn't say by hanging. Oh, she killed herself in Wilson Hall. Wilson.
So, you know what? Why would you touch that, though?
Why would you touch it? I don't know.
That's so, like, I'm not, like...
I don't know why you would touch it. That seems...
She's like, oh, did it happen right here? Touch. Yep, you did it.
She accidentally stepped on a little bit. Like, oh, no.
I mean, that's like 10 times worse than break your mom's back. Like, and she woke up in the middle of the night and Margaret was like, don't touch my residue.
I guess.
I mean, okay, that is really creepy, though. What did she see to drive her to the ledge?
I don't know.
Did she jump and die?
She didn't jump.
So she didn't drive to the ledge. So she wasn't... Are you keeping it from us?
We're going to get there.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Wilson again.
Okay. So, but are we going to find out how she died?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm along for the ride, dude. You go, you do you. I'm here.
All right. So we're going to touch on one of the frat houses.
But not the residue.
No, we're definitely not touching the residue.
Okay, good.
Should not touch that.
They should put caution tape around it. Like, she will find you and she will kill you, which in a way that you'll find out shortly on this podcast.
It's crazy that that it's still there.
It is. I don't understand the science behind it. If anybody knows more about decaying bodies, let us know. Is it unusual that they tried cleaning it and it wouldn't go away, or is that typical?
It's probably strange.
Maybe they get paid by the hour, like construction workers, or by the job. So he's like, I'm still cleaning it, man. Like, dude, it's been like 30 years. He's like, hey,
it's hard.
I'm getting there. There's, Clorox shortage right now.
Can't touch it.
Yeah. He's like cleaning the aura of it.
Okay. So the Alpha Omicron Phi.
Oh, God.
We were not in a frat house.
We were not in a frat house. I played guitar at a frat house one time.
Did you?
Yeah. They didn't know any of the songs that I knew.
Did they beat you up?
No, they asked me to come play by their campfire.
Oh, okay.
It was cool.
You know, if it wasn't for Alex, I probably would have joined a frat.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. But I don't know if I would have joined this frat.
Then you'd have truly been Tony Bromo.
Absolutely, yeah. The house itself has been passed down since the university opened in 1804.
What do you mean by passed down?
The house was there before the campus opened, and it was supposedly part of the Underground Railroad.
It was part of the Underground Railroad, so it already has a pretty negative energy around it then. Like,
yes, exactly. Yeah. And there was a professor who heard about the events happening in this house.
That was the longest A I've ever heard in my life. Happening. That's what happens when you come to Ohio.
Applebee's. Anthropology professor from the university who agreed there might be some strange things happening because of the negative past you talked about.
Yeah.
And there have been reports of scratching into closet doors. That's never changed.
The marks or the hearing of it?
Hearing of it.
The sound, okay.
That's never changed. There have been these reports basically since the university opened. The fraternity boys have always said that they've heard these scratchings in the closets.
Yeah, that's spooky.
And it's been passed down from different frats. There's been like 4 or 5 frats in this house. It wasn't always Alpha, Omicron, Phi. It was other Greek letters.
So different groups of people that might not have heard the story passed down or witnessing the same experience.
Exactly.
If you can trust anybody, it's a frat boy.
If he's not drunk, yeah. I'm just kidding. If you weren't a frat, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we love you.
Yeah. So now we're going to move on to the dorms.
The living spaces. The overpriced hotel rooms the size of a big walk-in closet.
Yeah. We both lived in a dorm. I lived in a dorm for 2 years.
The real scary thing is the price when you're done leaving.
Yeah,
that's
you're like,
the terrifying thing. Wow, I wasn't even in there. It was a closet, man.
Most of the dorms built on the West Green seem to have some kind of paranormal connection. It is also said that the dorms built on the West Greens were built on Native American burial grounds.
Oh, of course. I feel
like Poltergeist, the movie.
So what is the West Green?
There's the West Green, the East Green, the North Green, and the South Green.
And the Northeast take a turn at the stoplight green. Is there any red?
No, I don't know.
That's how they divide the campus.
Yeah.
I got you.
The first hall is Jefferson Hall. The most common complaint of Jefferson Hall is that there is a sound of someone dropping marbles in the halls above the observer. So if you're hearing it, there's marbles being dropped above you.
I feel like that's a very specific
sound.
Yeah, like
Isn't
very
it?
Specific. I'd feel like, did somebody drop something?
I think that's why it's interesting, because it's like multiple little...
You know what's scary to think about is like the what if behind it of like, what if it's not marbles? That's almost kind of its own creepy thing. It's like what it could be, assuming it's not marbles.
Even if that observer is on the top floor, you still hear it.
Dude, so he's just like, hey, somebody just lost their marbles. But because it's the asylum.
Yes.
I mean, this isn't the asylum, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I understand. In Jefferson Hall in 1996, a group of students were exploring the attics. They stumbled onto a room, and in that room was a woman dressed in clothes from the 1950s, and she was doing paperwork. They looked at her a little bit closer, and what they saw was that she was transparent and also floating at her desk. They ran out to go get the RA, and when they returned, the door was locked, but they broke in, and she had vanished.
Okay.
We can talk about the halls later, but...
Yeah, that one feels a little campfire.
It does feel like, yeah.
Yeah, and then we went back, and the door was locked, and then we had to break in, and she was gone. That's how it feels to me.
Bush Hall. Bush Hall has had a poltergeist that likes to play tricks on people. It turns off the lights.
He takes their beer and leaves them Bush Light. That's a prank right there.
It's messed up. It likes to turn off lights and run taps. Dripping water and also the sounds of marbles have also been heard in this hall.
Marbles again.
Mm-hmm.
And the dripping water. That could be something maybe they suffered in the asylum or something like that. Maybe like that's more of like a torture thing.
The Convocation Center. So the Convocation Center is rumored to be haunted by several spirits. One of them was an RA that was killed by her boyfriend, and she's said to still be wandering the halls, keeping watch of the students that are sleeping. The other spirit of the Convocation Center is that of a spirit who died while they were sleeping. And the spirit of that student likes to embrace others while they're sleeping at night.
Cuddle puddle?
People report to waking up to an unseen force holding on to them.
That's creepy.
It is creepy.
Because you're waking up, you're coming out of a groggy state, and then you just feel like the pressure of something holding you.
Yeah, that one's not as fun to think about. I kind of like the idea of the RA.
Like watching over?
Mm-hmm.
Like more of like a protective spirit?
Yeah.
Rather than this one that needs to be sent to like the harassment center?
They need to talk to HR. So Crawford Hall, this one's particularly creepy. So Crawford Hall is said to be haunted by the spirit of a student named Laura, who fell to her death the 4-story window in the 1990s during Easter. Soon after her death, lights began to flicker and the doors would slam open. This was especially true on the first floor. One night, an RA was awakened by the shadowy image of a girl at his door. He sleepily looked up and saw the shadow figure was in his doorframe. The shadow said, "I'm sorry I've woken you," then disappeared as the door closed. Moments later, when the RA ran out into the hall, no one was there. He later learned that outside his room was the spot where Laura had hit the sidewalk.
Ooh. Yeah. That is like the kindest spirit I've ever heard, though.
Yeah, it's just like this creepy kind of placidity. Just so placid, just like, "I'm sorry I've woken you."
Is there any reason why she jumped or anything like that?
They don't say.
It was Easter and they were like, "All right, and one of the eggs hidden outside is free tuition." And she's just like, "What?" And she jumped out there. No, that is sad though.
It is sad.
And that's very interesting that it was the same area.
Yeah. Just outside his room, it's just like, ugh.
It's like these don't feel like very violent spirits. But it's when you think of a place being haunted, typically, or maybe it's just me because of scary movies perhaps, but I feel like people tend to lean like, a violent sinister spirit. But that doesn't have to be the case. And it seems like the majority here is just kind of like unfortunate leftover.
Unable to move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Which I guess if you had to stay anywhere that was haunted, that's what you would prefer.
Yeah.
The kindest ghost. Like, I'm so sorry I woke you.
Apparently students in Crawford Hall have trouble playing the Bob Marley song, Laura. Isn't that interesting?
I mean, I get it. Like, what, the speakers stop working?
I don't know. It probably skips or whatever.
Their ears start bleeding? Like, what's the spectrum of why they
should
can't
have played
play?
Laura. I don't know.
Somebody's like, yeah, I'm gonna solve it. He like puts his earbuds in. He hits play on his iPod. His head just explodes. And they're just like, shouldn't listen to Laura, man.
Not here. Not in the convo or Crawford.
The track always skips. I want to go there and play it just to be like, yeah, I did it. Mic drop.
Yeah.
I did it.
So next we're moving on to Washington Hall. Washington Hall is haunted by either an all-women's basketball team that was killed in a tragic bus accident that took all of their lives, or it's haunted by an entire man's basketball team. And it's said to be haunted by that because the top floor was a recreational room. So it was like a gym, but it was converted into dorms.
So instead of marbles, they hear basketballs bouncing.
Mm-hmm.
No, really? Is that it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
So if you go to OU and you're looking at your brochure, like for dorm rooms, do they give you all this, like, you know how like when you put in like your top 3 places you want to live in a dorm, it's like, well, I really want to live with the person that hugs me because I get afraid at night, but I also like basketball, so I'll put that one number 2. And this Laura seems really nice, so if I have to live there, I guess I'll put that in my 3rd spot.
Yeah,
you think they use it for marketing?
They do not tell you. Trust me, I looked. They don't tell you.
They're like, no, scary stuff doesn't happen. Here, go Bobcats.
We're not the most haunted university in Ohio. In the world.
Unless that interests you, then hell yeah, we are. That'll be double tuition.
Yeah, that's right. For ghosts. You and the ghosts.
Dude, they should have a ghost hunting course or like a degree there. The Zach Baggins degree. You just work out all day.
It's a minor. So the last hall we have is Wilson Hall.
Yes, callback. I remember this one.
Wilson Hall.
How did she die?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Wilson Hall is the most famous haunting. Built in 1965. Room 428 is sealed off and is never assigned to any new students. Rumors are that the room was deemed uninhabitable, and this came after the reports of flying objects, doors slamming, and alleged ghost figures being seen. Girls in 2017 said they lived in 2 doors away. They said that they still hear scratches on their door and things will fall off their shelves. It is also rumored that the face of the devil will appear in this door, like on the door itself in the grain.
Oh, to live next to a room that's haunted and then to hear scratching on your door is so like a come out and play. Like, it just,
I know. These girls look so placid as they're asking, but I'm in my head, I'm like, you're gonna die if you go out and you hear those scratches. You know that, right?
Is that the word of the day? Placid?
Yeah, I guess so.
Lake Placid? Alligator? If you look at the door, can you discern a devil face from it naturally, or does it shift and mold into one and then when you wake up the next day it's gone?
I saw the door. It looked like a door. It looked fine. So Wilson's problem started when a boy mysteriously died in the 70s in room 428. A girl that stayed there was rumored to be practicing astral projection and devil worship. She also slit her wrists down to the bone in that room. I think that's the same girl that touched the stain.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so they don't say that. You're putting 2 and 2 together.
Yes.
Oh, so, okay. Interesting. So, touching that affected her so badly that she killed herself by slitting her wrists. But it's also... Now, what about the satanic part about it?
I think that's rumors built on top of it.
Okay, so you think that's probably not true. You think it's just that by touching it, she became overwhelmed, possessed, affected so badly.
I think she was probably always into witchy stuff. Well, I mean, I think she was always into ghosts and stuff.
She watched Hocus Pocus every year.
every Halloween. But I think she was into spooky kind of stuff. She went on this ghost thing, touched the stain, came home, was haunted for 2 days really badly, and killed herself.
That's a believing the bizarre hypothesis.
That's my patented theory.
Yeah. If you hear it anywhere else, you owe Charlie a nickel.
That's it though.
Starting now. That's interesting. So she died from bleeding out.
Yeah.
And we don't know how the boy died.
Mysterious. Students still hear footsteps in that room, and students that still live there are still continuously hearing doors slamming. So there's a specific story in Wilson Hall. It's not room 428. It's just a girl that lived in this hall. So this girl went to bed. She was waiting on her roommate, right? So the girl, she goes to bed while her roommate's gone at this party.
Without a game plan for what she would do if she didn't, I imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she had like, I'm going to go out and get her.
Yeah, I guess maybe like if she's not back, I'll call her or pick her up.
Maybe something like that. So the girl, she wakes up at 3 a.m., sleepy, and she turns off her alarm. She looks over precisely at 3 to her roommate's bed, and she sees the outline of a girl and feet hanging out over the covers.
Hanging out under the covers, like over the bed?
Yeah, like her feet, like her covers are up a little too high.
Okay.
And her feet are out.
That's what you get when you have a dorm bed. Blankets that aren't big enough.
Exactly. So she's satisfied. She goes back to sleep. At 7 a.m., she's woken up by the sound of the door. Her roommate comes in and she goes, "Where'd you go?" And she's like, "I just came back from the party." So who was in the bed?
Wow. That's a crazy party. Come back at 7 a.m. And a really good roommate. Is OU the kindest college in the world?
Well, it's Midwest. It's Midwest.
Yeah, everyone. I'm gonna set an alarm to make sure my roommate's back in time, who I probably just met this semester. And ghosts are like, "I'm so sorry for waking you," but that's creepy. That's creepy. Now,
it is creepy.
I don't know what mental state she was in at 3 a.m, waking up from alarm, looking over. I feel like eyes adjusting. But assuming that what she saw is true, that's very creepy. And at what point do you just not feel safe in your own dorm anymore? Although, why would you feel safe in that dorm anyway?
You see a body there. You assume it's your roommate, who was supposed to be back by then.
What would you do if it was you and me, and you set an alarm for 3 a.m, and we were roommates, and you woke up and you looked over and you saw somebody in my bed, and you assumed it was me? And the same story.
Yeah.
Would you tell me about it so that you could vent and talk it out? Or would you not tell me to save me from being terrified to sleep in my bed ever again? Because I part of me would want to say, I saw something in your bed last night. I guess it wasn't you. Let's talk about this. But part of me is like, if I do, like, is it better to just swallow the story so that they don't feel unsafe in their bed again? Like, it's like, when do you tell somebody a hard fact?
I think you tell them so you can figure out how you can rent an apartment and leave. No, we talk it out because we're going to go in together and we're going to get an apartment because we need to leave this house, this room.
I was going to say, because one of us is sleeping in that bed and some of us like to keep peace of mind. That's an interesting debate discussion theory. It's like, to tell somebody to be transparent, honest, or to not tell somebody for potentially their best interest?
No, we're leaving. That's what would happen. Like, I don't want to sleep in that room either. Like, yeah, it's your bed, but also my room too. No.
And then you're like, at least I'm not in that bed. And then you just feel somebody's arms wrap around you.
Yeah, right?
6 feet, motherfucker.
That's it. Those are all the stories.
Well, the big ones.
The big ones. There's even more. There are even more.
Are there any dorms that aren't haunted? Like, are those the ones that, like, fill up in 2 seconds? Like, where do you guys want to live on? Where do you want to, stay? Can I be in the not haunted dorm? Can I be the one where I don't hear scratching and marbles?
I think there's, like, one that is not haunted. I don't know its name.
Like, I got a Psych 101 test tomorrow morning. I'm trying to focus and study.
Jennifer won't stop tickling my feet, and Jennifer's dead.
You know how they say, like, how you study is how you should take the test? Like, if you're listening to music?
Yes.
You're, like, in your class, like, hey, there was scratching and moaning coming from the room. Can we play some of that during my exam? We have OU students failing because they're hearing spooky stuff when they study, and it's dead silent when they take the test.
The professors start to know, so they have, like, a Halloween track.
Just the Monster Mash.
Let's talk about this in the discussion. So let's start with where I started, the Ridges.
That's the mental asylum.
Yes, it is. The thing about the Ridges is I don't have any proof, but there have been several people have done things on it. Like, there's been a Ghost Adventures. There's also been... Oh,
Ghost Adventures went there?
Yeah, also...
Did they get video proof or picture proof of the outline of the body or anything like that?
I didn't see a picture of the outline of the body.
That seems like it's not entirely in question. That feels like it's pretty... It feels like that's pretty real.
So yeah. It is documented. There is a body there. There's a body outline.
This one doesn't feel that. So it's gonna be, not to jump ahead, but it's gonna be, do you find the hauntings of OU believable? Like that's the
Yeah.
This one isn't that hard for me because one, that is an unusual. It feels like an unusual circumstance. I don't know enough about dead bodies to know whether or not being unable to clean it is unusual. But then the story that's attached to that with the person that touched it, lobotomy is just the negative energy, the abuse that was happening there. That particular building, the Ridges being haunted, does not feel unbelievable to me.
I agree.
It feels
already it feels
not like a big reach.
At least viable. So let's go to the Alpha Omicron Phi house. And that was the house that was used in the Underground Railroad.
And the marbles.
And no, that's a hall.
Oh, I thought that was the...
No, this is scratching the doorways.
Okay.
To me, I think it, like we talked about, it has a negative past. Just running away, the fear of running away from the Underground Railroad.
Yeah. I mean, high stakes, intensity in that situation.
And the fact that groups have passed it on to different groups, and it's still happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's f***ing creepy. So what do you think?
Are we going by every hall?
No, it's just more evidence to stack onto this fire.
If less believable than the asylum. I mean, if you believe that it's haunted, then the Underground Railroad helps. I don't think it's enough evidence, or I don't think it's enough on its own.
Right, it could just be mice.
Yeah, I mean, there's more believable things in this episode than this one.
I agree.
This feels like the parsley in the soup. Like, this isn't the broth or the potatoes. Like, this is like the parsley.
Yeah, maybe just the parties are like enough to scare away the spirits.
Yeah, they're like, this is too loud.
So the dorm's being built on Native American burial grounds. I feel like that's just something they say.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of like there's so much. I mean, people have lived on Earth for so long. Like, so much death has happened on so much of the planet. It's not like the Poltergeist is like where they dug it up, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And I don't know the backstory about like this place, but that just feels that it and I hate to say it because for the ancient burial grounds that have been dug up and stuff, that is a tragedy. But at this point, it feels like a cliche.
Yeah, for sure. But also, what's interesting about this, it doesn't seem to be like Native American related.
Yeah.
It seems to be people that have passed away there related.
Right. And this, to me, is like the person or the people that were in the dorm and they went upstairs and they saw somebody there in old clothes, but then they looked harder, like, I don't know, they squint, and then like, wait a minute, that person's transparent, they're see-through. And then they left and they came back and it was locked. And
yeah, that was Jefferson Hall. It feels
end of the
totally
scene.
Ghost story type.
Yeah, that's, and I'm not saying that makes it not true. It feels like cinematic.
There are more credible stories from the dorms besides that Jefferson incident.
Yeah, or at least ones that don't feel like a movie.
I feel like that's told to people that live in Jefferson Hall to scare them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we all have scary stories except for Jefferson. Like, no, we have our own scary story.
Yeah, it's like upstairs and sometimes it's locked and sometimes it's not. And then there's people there.
And she's doing paperwork.
That's hell right there.
Yeah, right.
She's stuck. She's like, help me.
For me, the scariest ones are the Convocation Center with the RA and the spirit that hugs people while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
The Crawford Hall with the Laura.
The Laura. The Lorax.
I think Washington Hall is silly with the spirits of the basketball team. I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah. The hugging one is interesting because on a surface level, it's not that scary. It's like an affectionate spirit, but it, like, if you put yourself in that situation where you wake up and you just feel like arms around you,
right?
How, like, does it disappear? Do you break out of it? Like, I don't, like, what's the next thing that happens?
You
like,
probably wake up and you feel it and you just start like,
and then it goes away. Or what if it doesn't let go? Like,
I know. And then lastly, we have Wilson Hall, which is like the epicenter of all the haunted stuff.
The cutting of the wrists.
Yeah, the room 428.
420. Yeah, I would not I would probably specifically not want to live there. Also, this feels like a after the discussion thing. But if anybody who listens to us is going to OU or has gone to OU, please hit us up.
Oh yeah,
your
definitely.
personal experiences, because
that'd be super cool. Yeah, that'd be really cool. But yeah, room 428 is still not used. It's not used. They just
that's when you know things are now. It's like that's kind of what I was hinting at too about like the brochures. Like if the OU uses this as a marketing ploy, then 428 being closed kind of feels like they're kind of leaning into that a little bit. But if OU tries to stifle the paranormal thing and they have that room closed, that makes it feel all the more real to me.
I understand what you mean. Yeah, they don't use this. I was on their website looking for any trace of this. They don't use it at all.
It's always Halloween at OU. Yeah, that makes it feel more... Because, I mean, think about it. How much money is a dorm room?
A lot of money.
Thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. I mean, room and board plus a meal plan could be $20,000 plus tuition. So are they going to... Like, would you willingly I mean, they are a business. Would you willingly give up that much money just to entertain a ghost story thing?
If 2 students live there, that's $40K. You're going to give up $40K?
Yeah. So that makes it feel like it has a little bit more merit to me.
Yeah, the Wilson stuff really creeps me out, honestly. If you lived in Wilson specifically, I'd love to hear that story.
Yeah, for sure.
I gotta text my cousin, see where she lived.
She's like the one that she's like, what if your cousin texts you and says the basketball thing's true?
Huh. That'd be interesting. Well, you know, if the basketball thing's true, I feel like everything else is definitely true.
Yeah, that's like the bottom of the barrel. Like, if that stuff's real, everything else is just like, for sure. 100%. Honey.
Yeah, so where do you fall on this?
I already lean hauntings. Like, you know me, like, there's things I already, like, you lean aliens being believable. I feel like you kind of, you lean that way. I tend to believe in ghosts. And as long, like, the only story you brought me was that one about the woman doing paperwork, that feels manufactured. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, and even if you don't believe one of these, like, okay, let's take out that and let's take out the basketballs. There's so many other stories and experiences around the OU campus. So, in as a blanket, you know, like, do I believe that OU itself and the area is haunted? Yeah, I give it a believable.
I do too. I think this story of OU being one of the most haunted universities in the world is true. I believe it 100%.
100%. Cool.
Thank you for joining us on this collegiate trip to the University of Ohio.
Listening to this episode for free is the cheapest thing you'll ever do college related. Guaranteed.
Yeah. I kind of want to go to the place now.
Yeah, it's funny because as you guys know, well, listeners that we've had for at least a month know that for Halloween, we celebrated the day by doing a live episode at Helltown, Ohio. So not to like, you know, spill the beans, but it would be cool every Halloween to do a live episode somewhere. We do have one that we're already talking about, which is pretty cool. But I was thinking about it with OU. I'm like, well, that's in our state. We probably could do that. Maybe we still will. Who knows? We might get updates.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Here's the thing. If we get enough listener submissions from you guys about your experiences at OU, we could do a secondary listener submission live episode at OU.
That'd be amazing. Actually, if you do that, if you guys can pull that off, it'd be sick.
It's pretty much all on you guys. Like, we're done. Like, clocking out. Like, it's
Can't do anything else to help
your
you.
job to make this work. If it doesn't happen, it's your fault.
Although, what I can do to help you is our listener submission form is on our website, and it's easy to get to.
Yeah, and let me just say, in a very unbiased fashion, that is a beautiful looking website.
It's pretty good.
Beautiful. Whoever made that website has the most beautiful hair, I imagine. But yeah, if you go to our website, believingthebizarre.com, and you go to their navigation, there, submit your experience, where it breaks it down for you. It helps us out in telling your story. But we want to tell your stories. We want to tell your paranormal experiences. We want to tell it right. So as much detail as possible is preferred. But we love doing those episodes and we love getting those.
Yeah, I would love to do that thing in Ohio. Ohio's university.
You're amped now?
I kind of am. Yeah, that'd be sick.
We're only like 10 months away.
Yeah.
It's basically right around the corner. Also, again, if you guys feel compelled to, we would greatly appreciate any Apple podcast reviews. We got a couple without messages, which is cool. You don't have to leave a message. You can just hit that 5 stars. You don't have to say anything.
Yeah, that's better than nothing.
The 5 stars means well, that's not true. I do like reading them.
I do too.
It means like just a percentage underneath it. It still warms our heart and it still helps us out a lot. So if you haven't yet, if you're enjoying the podcast, first of all, you have to be enjoying it. If you're liking the podcast, if you're still listening now, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, please. Goes a long way.
But anyway, thank you so much for listening.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Charlie.
And catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre.
Podcast as bizarre as you are.